Welcome to the Retail Leasing Playbook podcast, where week by week I go through the chapters of my latest book, the Retail Leasing Playbook. Today we're going to talk about chapter 26, 5 creative go-tos when trying to fill hard-to-fill spaces. So sometimes you get stale. Sometimes your ideas run out. What are some ways that you can think about or be creative with trying to fill hard-to-fill spaces? So here are my go-to 5. 1, go back and talk to your tenants in your shopping centers. Maybe you haven't done that in a while, and they might have some good creative ideas. If you can, incentivize them with an offer like maybe a half of a month free rent. Obviously, check that out with your owner or your property manager before you offer anything like that. Number 2, reach out to your vendors. Your landscaper, your attorney, your insurance agent, your sign guys. They might have some ideas of businesses that they know that are expanding in your area. Number 3, grab your kid and go check out a local festival, a food truck fair, a local flea market. They're always filled with entrepreneurs that are maybe incubating, trying new concepts, and maybe you can get some ideas from them. Number 4, look at the print version of your local community newspaper. That's where well-run businesses who have cash are advertising, and that's where you can get ideas of people to call or canvas or reach out to on Facebook. The other thing that's great about those newspapers is you see what other markets are similar to your market. So for example, let's say you're in Smithtown, New Jersey, and you open the community newspaper, and of 3 or 4 ads, there are businesses advertising their locations in Smithtown and also Germantown. And maybe you haven't gone to Germantown and canvassed there, which you should, because if your businesses in Smithtown are also in Germantown, you may find some businesses that haven't expanded yet into Smithtown that you can target and bring over. I always love that idea, and when I'm canvassing with teams across the country, it's one of the first things I do or research ahead of time. And then lastly, just be aware. I was once in Atlanta doing a workshop training canvassing event, and we were canvassing a center, and I looked out into the parking lot and I saw a van parked there with a bunch of guys in it. And it was for La Hacienda Mexican restaurant. And right on the van, it said that the guy had, I think, 6 locations. I left my group, I walked over to the van, and I said, "Hey, are you guys from, La Hacienda restaurant?" They said, "Yes, of course." And I said, "Have you thought about opening new locations?" And believe it or not, the owner of the restaurant was in the van. My guys from Atlanta went on 3 site tours with them the following week. So be aware and be vigilant, because you never know where you might see an idea. I can't tell you how many times I have been on I-95 in South Florida where a van drives by me, like let's say an urgent care van, with a list of their locations, and hopefully my sons or my rookies, my interns, are in the car, and I go, "Take a picture of that van with those locations," right? So, or billboards. I'll drive by and see a billboard with a retailer with locations, or I'll see bus benches. So just very important to be aware and be thinking about your vacancies at all times. Just kidding. But just keep being aware and being vigilant and thinking, what ideas can I come up with? Maybe it's in a movie theater where they run advertisements. Maybe it's commercials on TV, local TV stations. There's all kinds of ideas. When I travel to other cities, when I'm doing my workshops, one of the things I do the morning of the workshop or even the evening before is I watch the community news channels to watch the news, because many times they highlight local retailers and businesses that are doing something new or unique. And I get ideas from that before I even walk into the workshop. So those are my ideas to try to spur new creativity when maybe you're in a funk And, also share it with friends, put it on Facebook. Say, hey, I've got vacancy in my center. Who knows of a business that they would like to come to our city? And I think the people on Facebook will throw out some ideas, or Instagram. So I hope you're enjoying the podcast. I hope that gave you some really interesting ideas. I would love for you to share the podcast with friends, comment on social media, like it, and of course, subscribe. Thanks, guys.